You know, after sitting for a while, fishing, I've started to think a lot about the past. And I don't mean when pigs were still pink and the chickens didn't have variants. I'm talking about way in the past. So far back, in fact, that we are on a very old Kindle. And I'm pretty sure Minecraft isn't even fully updated on this one. I think it stopped at the ocean update. So right now, we're just letting it load. And there we are. We have a very, very, very old version of Minecraft. As you can see, there's no skin on the character. Everything is in the oceanic update. And we'll just see how it is. So almost 12, 13 years I've been playing Minecraft. And this is one of the older worlds. As you can see, this is what it looked like. I used glowstone, carpet, that's shift, this is fly, bright emeralds, glass, and I'm sorry for poor video quality because I really can't do anything about it. Now I wish I had both hands, but I'm kind of using one hand right now just to be able to show you around. So this world, I had made a target block before target blocks existed. And if we fly up, we have an emerald roller coaster and just the most horrendous emerald house. 1 million villagers and a couple mushroom cows. A couple 100 mushroom cows. Let's see as this one loads what we have here. And this would be quite fun to play on. Maybe if y'all are interested, I'll make a video of me building something in this old version of Minecraft on this older device. There could be anything. There's a bunch of turtles, and I'm holding diamond blocks in a bed, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. I added my own part to this lovely village, spammed a bunch of mushrooms and villagers, and made roads out of diamond and emerald and diamonds. Look at these old diamond blocks. Now, I'd rather not look into the houses, but as you can see, they're just a bunch of square boxes. So we'll go out of this world and maybe try one more. Because I know I also used the nether core block a bit, which we don't have anymore. But there are some worlds in this where the block is present. I think another block I used a lot of was bricks. It was diamonds, emerald, any like shiny block, really. And then, let's see. As I said, any shiny block. I used a lot of paintings, glass I had quite a bit of. I don't really understand this archway. I was obsessed with this princess and pig painting. I just thought it was fun. Inside we have bunk beds, so we'd have to use red beds. What is that? Wait, what block is that? It's not a furnace. If you know what this mysterious block right here is, leave a comment, please. Because I have no clue, and I don't have it in my inventory, and don't have a way to get it. I have an empty chest, and a cake room. Just a cake room. And across the hall is what looks to be a storage room with nothing in the chests still. So it also looks like I used a lot of granite. So to start off, we're going to need to gather
our materials from our research. So diamond block, emerald blocks, iron, probably some lapis. These were some of the more common blocks we saw. We saw some glass, but we never used panes. It was always glass blocks. And then we also want brick. I used a lot of brick. And I saw a lot of brick stairs. Saw a lot of regular brick. And I saw a bit of oak and birch. So for simplicity's sake, one of the things we saw was some birch fence. And then, to stay true, we want a villager spawn egg and mushroom spawn eggs. And we'll get to those at the end, as well as paintings random. Alright. I might also add some gold to this. Actually, I'm gonna line these up, grab some gold as well, just to be able to have an easy way to grab these blocks. And then we want some gold to add to our lineup. And oak door. Didn't ever see iron doors or no door. We used cobblestone. And we saw cobblestone walls used quite a bit. And finally, we want a red bed. And I think that's probably the best we're gonna get. So to start with trying to save whatever this build is going to be, I want to maybe separate it into two. I think these we use as more accents, and we have a main brick and granite house with a door. And just to add some, make it look better, we can add an inside, because I don't have to stick with what I used to do. I just have to use a similar, the same block palette. This looks like a school. I won't lie to you there. We can add another wall here, and we can have a big old window. We're completely fine. This doesn't look terrible. Okay, so we have a basic shape, and we'll see how it turns out from here. So far with just the brick, it's not too terribly bad. It doesn't look the best. It's definitely not the best thing I've ever made, but it's not the worst. Okay, so we have the main base part done, and it's not, yeah, it's definitely not the worst. I mean, it looks decent, so I really can't complain much about it. I'm just adding some cobblestone in and around kind of the corners, just to add a little bit more detail to it that it may or may not need. I just really need to get the block down. And that's kind of the same with the granite. I'm just kind of gonna spill it into the main structure. I might add some iron to the roof to make it look more like a school building, I guess. Which at this point, that's kind of what this is turning into. If I'm supposed to think like my younger self, well, I think if this is a school, then I would want a skylight. Because my elementary school had like this plastic dome above some of the spots areas, so you could see slightly through it, and you can hear the rain, and it got some natural light. So that adds a little bit more light. The top of the school definitely needs some work, and I'm thinking we have some sort of like air conditioning unit that we just slap on top. Because I mean, this is something that we saw in the original builds. We saw a random iron block. So we might as well add 1 or 2 of these air conditioning type units to make it look like there's something that's on the roof, and maybe I can make some roof access. You just have this little roof area. We can trim that there. And now we have kind of air conditioning units on top of the build, and that uses the iron block. Real struggle here is going to be figuring out how to use the rest of the shiny blocks, like the emerald and the diamond and the gold and the lapis. How am I going to incorporate these into this? I realized I also need to add a floor, but luckily I remembered one of the items I tend to use was wool. So what I can do is make a lapis and blue wool floor, which I don't think would look too bad. I'm just now realizing I also used glowstone, so I'm gonna have to make a glowstone my main lighting, which is going to be really weird. I noticed that I used a lot of checker patterns. Made a lot of checkered patterns, so I think having this checkered pattern as the floor would be fun to have because I used a lot of checkered patterns, like so. And there's the floor, and I'll be honest, it's not too bad. It actually kind of almost looks like a school floor, except the school floors are more of a weird blue, green, gray color, and not a bright, vibrant blue like this. Now that we have the lapis and the wool done, we have to figure out how to use the other brighter blocks. Oh, and the glowstone. So I used the bed. Now we have a roof or a ceiling. And it actually looks interesting. It's not bad. Not the best thing I've ever seen. Now what I can do is I can make little light areas. And this can hold the lights like so. It doesn't look... and it's not bad. I like it. We have the glowstone, now we just have to add the gold, the diamond, and the emerald, which is going to be a little bit of a struggle. Oh, and the birch. Can't forget about the birch. And that's, I think, what's going to be the hardest to do with this build. Weirdly, it wasn't that hard to do. I just added the birch fence and then added the gold, and now we have, I guess, the chalkboards made of emerald and gold and diamond. We're on to the last few touches, and that is paintings, mushrooms, and villagers. Now for the painting, I want a very specific painting, and I think you know exactly which one I want. We just fill the inside in with mushrooms and villagers, and oh, they can get out of doors. And we will be doing great painting, and we'll use some of the traditional paintings. Nope, that helps. Nope, I just want a 1 block. There we go, a little painting right there. So this right here is the build that I came up with using old block palettes. On the outside, you can see it's not too shabby, with a brick and granite exterior with some iron on the top, and inside, we can't go inside because the villagers were escaping from the doors, we have a simple yet quaint and old looking interior. We have glowstone, and we have beds as the ceiling, because beds can float. We have chalkboards, and then everything is filled with villagers and mushrooms. So, that's the video for today. If you liked it, be sure to give it a like. And if you want to see more, subscribe. And comment down below what you think I should do next. And make sure you also comment if you thought I did a good job on my impressions of using old blocks to make a good build. So, if you look at the tab list in the server, look who's on. Isn't that crazy? That's so cool.